Hey everybody, it's been a long, boring weekend for me. I spent my whole weekend doing camera surgery on the DXG 567v HD camcorder that I've modified like crazy, and I have beat the crap out of more or less its whole life for 2 years so far. And I still gotta upload my other videos about when all this stuff started happening. Basically what has happened with this camera was after I recently done a microphone mod on this camera to add in an external microphone port, I've been having issues with this camera to where the focus would get out of alignment. For example, it would not focus all the way back into standard landscape mode, but it would get very good macro. And if I remember right, when I was working on this camera back then, the lens had come loose for some reason. I guess I had unscrewed the screws and pulled the lens off the CMOS sensor. Probably just some curiosity to see how things looked, and I guess I didn't have everything put back together right. But anyways, what was going on is, like I said, it would get out of focus. So when I would do my time-lapse videos of weather and stuff like that, where the camera would be sitting out in the yard, everything would look fuzzy, and it kind of, threw out the whole point of having high definition when your video isn't clear. So anyways, I've had this camera apart several times, just trying to figure out numerous times, and I went to the thrift store and bought some cheap film cameras to take apart to get the lens out of them and just try that. I mean, I've been doing all sorts of different kinds of experiments with this thing, and I even went ahead and disassembled my old DXG 567v camcorder just to part it out and get its lens assembly out, which there it sits. And the good news is, after excessive filling, I decided to go ahead and put the stock lens back on, and the screws that attach the lens to the motherboard, or the main board inside this camera, I decided to tighten them down extremely tight, not over tight, but I decided to tighten them really good, and now the camera is finally getting the right focus. So it's just a matter of putting it back together. So the DXG 567v HD camcorder will continue to live a harsh life. Long live the camera. And let me tell you, this place is a real big mess. Here's a zoom lens assembly out of a different camera. Now I'll actually show you a video that I made with this camera, just testing it out. What I did was I took the stock lens off the camera, exposed the CMOS sensor, and what I did is I put the lens up to the front of the camera just to see how things would look, and it looks pretty cool. But just have a look here, just how big of a mess this is. Normally I prefer to be fixing computers and stuff, but like I say, I spent my whole weekend doing camera surgery. I also had to learn how to properly discharge photo flash capacitors in cameras, which luckily the two cameras I disassembled, the flash capacitors were already discharged. But this, like I say, this is a big mess. There's parts for the DXG 305v. There's one part of the shell. There's the other part of the shell. There's the main board. I threw away the daughter board because it had the flash components on it. There's a lens, and there's a CMOS sensor. Just have a look at this. This is an older CMOS sensor, but if you have never seen the component that actually captures the image in a digital camera, this right here is what it looks like. In modern digital cameras and camcorders, you have what's called a CMOS sensor, and this right here captures light and converts it into electrons, or electric energy. That's the little PCB that it's on. And this came out of a 3 megapixel camera. So that's pretty cool. Anyways, like I said, I gotta put this camera back together, and we'll be back in business. Anyways, any questions or comments, feel free to ask.